Hello, 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 debt free degree beloveds. Y'all, I am so delighted that I'm here with my dear, y'all, you know, those people that you truly say are sisters from another mister. This is what Holliday and I are. We met through a networking group and we've never met in real life. And one day we will really soon. And we just immediately had this like deep sense of synergy and, this whole idea of, really a rising tide lifts all boats, and she understands that and lives that and exudes that, and it's exactly why she's invited each one of you into this conversation, because she knows if it's good for her and her family, then it's good for y'all too. And so for everybody that is joining live, thank you. For everybody that's watching the replay, thank you. We are so delighted. So Holly, you want to say a few things before we get started?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, oh, I just got all like teary-eyed. When I first met you, it was like I felt like we had known each other forever. And and all the wonderful work that you do for college students, but also I want you to explain what you do for the King Foundation. And you just make such a difference, and that is just makes fills me up. And I wanted you to come because your book and your philosophy about debt-free degree is so amazing. And I read the book and I couldn't believe how many things that, I read it when Eric was a freshman in college, but we're still able to do a bunch of the things. But I want, people, you were like, it's never too early. So it's like, I want people that have eighth graders and
Yes.
ninth graders, because I wish I had started planning early, but I didn't really know. So with your first trial, sometimes you just have to kind of stumble through it. But I do have Liam coming up in 3 years, so he'll be going to college. So we definitely will be using a lot of your philosophy, and I'm just excited for everyone to meet you and learn about debt-free degree.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And with Liam, because you have 3 years, there's really no reason for him to ever say yes to a student loan unless it's his choice. But he can work hard now and make sure that he never has to say yes to a student loan. And so you've got plenty of time. And with Eric, we'll get there. And however it is that I can assist him and all of y'all's peeps, then I'm delighted to do it. So I'm going to share my screen. And so one of the things that I love to say is, obviously I would love for you to turn on your cameras if you are joining us live. So thank you so much for that. So lots of you may have questions. I've got time for Q&A at the very end. And as Holly teed up so beautifully for me, she was like, tell them about the King Center. So everything that I do is rooted and grounded in love. The name of my business is Love Revolution, and it comes from a quote by Martin Luther King that says, "A social movement that moves merely people is a revolt, but a social movement that transforms both people and institutions is a revolution." Love is revolutionary. Debt-free degree is revolutionary. If I can teach 30 million middle schoolers and high schoolers, that's how many are in the nation right now, to say no to student loans and yes to financial freedom, how does it change the trajectory of all of those students? What does it look like if a high school at graduation doesn't just celebrate how many are going to college or how many have honors, but if they celebrate not only, and my nephew just graduated, and for those of you that are joining or watching the replay, we're recording this in May of 2025. So my nephew just graduated in Tucson, and they announced that his class of 350 had earned $15 million in scholarships. Outstanding, outstanding. So of course I did the math, and that's like $42,000 ish, per student, which is phenomenal.
Mhm.
And it's still possible that every one of those students will have student loan debt. It's possible. So, what I want you to know is that everything that I do is deeply grounded and rooted in love. And when I talk about love, love stands for letting others voluntarily evolve and letting ourselves voluntarily evolve. So, if you're currently carrying student loan debt, don't feel badly about that. Let's just make a decision from here forward. We're not going to carry anymore. Okay. If you haven't planned yet for your child's education, it's okay because you're today years old hearing this information. Let yourself, let others, let ourselves voluntarily evolve. Be loving to yourself, be kind to yourself. So I use the GRIT blueprint in everything that I do, and I'm going to go through what GRIT stands for quickly, and then I'm going to come back around and do a deep dive on each one. So the G stands for grants and scholarships. The R is return on investment. The I is interconnected.
Roz, I don't think I think your screen is really big. Is that just me?
Do you see, like right here, do you see grants and scholarships on there?
Kind of, but it's really, really, really big. I have to move my cursor around. But maybe it's just my screen. I'm sorry I interrupted. I
Oh,
just didn't want
that's
your
okay.
not to see.
No, and since we're recording and it's just you and I right now, I am going to send you a picture of what I am seeing.
Oh yeah, and let me show you a picture of what I can see. And you'll see my camera in there, but I love we're sending pictures out of it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like really big for some reason, but as long
You know,
maybe
it
it's
probably
fine.
is. Yes, it is big.
Okay, so maybe that's fine. I just didn't want anything to be cut off. So, okay.
No, no,
So
I,
go
yeah.
back and start with grit.
Okay. You know what, peeps? Y'all all know Holly because Holly has invited you. And listen, this is life. This is life. Life answers life, and this is what you do is you do iteration. So thank you, Holly. And zero people have ever said it's that big. Like unusually big. So I'm delighted you said that. So thank you. So going back to the grit blueprint for a debt-free degree, the G is grants and scholarships. The R is return on investment. The I is interconnected, and the T is my proven triangle approach. Now, think about a three-legged stool. So you have three legs. One is SM, that's student money. One is FM, your friends, your family, your folks, the people you're familiar with. And then the third one is OPM. And what is that, Miss Holly? Do you remember from the book? Student money, friends and family, people you're familiar with money, and other people's
Money.
money.
Other people's money. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Other
I was
people's
thinking
money.
of corporate, but I was going to say corporate money, but that's the same thing. Other people's money.
Other people's money. Exactly. It is the same thing. So just understand that the grit blueprint is really, really simple and it is not easy. It's going to take resilience. It's going to take tenacity. But let me also say that if you've got six figures in student loan debt, that will take resilience and tenacity to pay that off. And I have my PhD. I don't anticipate earning another degree. I don't necessarily anticipate writing another dissertation. However, one day I want someone to study this grit blueprint and talk about how this resilience and tenacity that you have to have in order to earn a debt-free degree translates in you having the skill set in a myriad of ways. So I don't have any anecdote. I have anecdotes, but I don't have any actual research. But it's out there. Just understand that if you're intent on a debt-free degree, these are the things that you have to have in order to earn it. So you're going to be great. As we all know, student loan debt is crippling, crippling. And the thing is, for those of you that know me, you hear my accent. If you know me at all personally, you know that I'm in the South and I am from a little town in Georgia called Athens, which is home of the University of Georgia Bulldogs. I'm a huge Bulldog fan. And I
And REM.
Yes, REM. You know what, Holly? My mom and Michael Stipe's mom are really, really, really good friends.
I love it. I
Yes,
love it.
yes, yes. So, and I have a, when we're done recording this, then remind me to tell you my REM story. So, student loan debt is crippling, and I use red and black in debt-free degree, not because I'm a bulldog, although, hello, but it's a question. Do you want to graduate in the red, which is what's going on with this piggy bank, or do you want to graduate in the black? Y'all think about that. It is a myth that you must have student loan debt, that debt is a prerequisite for adulthood. And still, it's this human algorithm of just take the debt and figure out how to pay it off later. Everybody has to have student loan debt. Again, May of 2025 is when we're recording this. There are propositions from the current presidential administration who want to tax scholarships. They want to cut student worker funding by 50%. They are proposing that that when you earn the scholarships, that they're going to be counted as income, and they are reducing or eliminating completely student repayment plans. Like if you could, work to pay it off or whatever.
Mhm.
And so there are so many students out there that believe I either go to college with student loan debt or I don't go. And I'm here to say there's a whole third way. And it's going to be harder if some of those policies are implemented. It's going to be even harder to go debt-free degree. So you're going to need even more tenacity and more resilience. And I'm here to help you. So a little bit about grants and scholarships. There are 1.7 million private scholarships and fellowships every single year. 1.7 million. So when you say to yourself, I'm white, so there are no scholarships for me, wrong. I'm a C student, there are no scholarships for me, wrong. Actually, David Letterman has a very famous, mediocre student scholarship, which I absolutely love. I do this. I have a debt-free degree club curriculum, and everything is asynchronous. You just go into the portal, and there's a video, there's an advisor worksheet, and there's a student worksheet. And one of the weeks, what we do is it worth it to apply for the $500 scholarship? And we walk through what does that mean? So there's 1.7 million private scholarships out there. The R stands for return on investment. What I did on this slide, and Holly, I am going to ask you, can you see all of those numbers?
No, I can only
12,200.
see if I move my screen, I can. And I'm wondering if I'm, yeah, I mean, it might be different for other people. I moved my screen and I can see direct cost.
12,200. Okay.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good, good. So what I did is I took all 50 states and I put them in a random generator and I pulled one state. So I went to University of that state's name and I went to their website. Some websites are easier to find than others. And I added up tuition, fees, room and board, and books. And I came up with that figure, the $12,000 figure. And then I multiplied it by eight. So you see $98,160.
And
This is
that's
why,
8 semesters. That's because it's 8 semesters.
there you go, Holly. Thank you, because that was one of my questions. You
I
go,
wanted to
sister.
make sure that I was
You go.
thinking right.
So when I say I can help each student save $100,000, this is where this number comes from. But here's the thing, Holly, you're exactly right. That $12,000 number per semester, y'all know schools can be double that, triple that, exorbitantly more than that, right? And many, many, many schools, their highest graduation rate is not 4 years, but five. So then you're multiplying that number not by eight, but by 10. And so the whole point of ROI, return on investment, is how can I get that first number as low as possible? How can I make sure that that second number is as low as possible so that that total is as low as possible? And then we can figure it out, right? Now, there are some schools, very phenomenal elite schools, whose cost of attendance per year is approaching $100,000. So then you would take that figure and multiply it times four because it's per year or times five. I don't know how many of y'all have $500,000 set aside, to go to that kind of institution for every one of your children, right? And so you've got to think about return on investment. I worked with a family about 6 months ago, and the mom heard about me, and she came to me because she said, and she was on, it was in a meeting with she and her son. And she said, I have over $200,000 in student loan debt. I'm a teacher. And every single time I wanted a pay raise, I just went and got a new certificate. I went and got a new degree because they kept giving me pay raises, and they did. She said, she didn't say it this way. She didn't say I didn't consider return on investment. She said I never thought about how hard it would be to pay all that back. That's return on investment. That's what that means. So you've
Mhm.
got to think about how hard it is to pay this back. Now there's some folks out there that are saying, if you can't pay back the loan, you shouldn't be taking the money. Y'all, we are giving $100,000 to people that do not have a fully developed frontal lobe. Some adults, some adults, this woman that I was talking about, her frontal lobe is fully developed, and yet she had not considered the cost. We have to consider the cost. When you look at your school work life balance, if you work a full time job, then that is 24% of your week. You still have 76% of your week to do all the things that you want to do: party, sleep, hang out with friends, study, all the things that you need to do, even if you're working full time. There are 33 states that if you work for that state's public institution, then you get free tuition and fees. And when I shared this with a good friend of mine, she's a really good friend of mine, and she is I'll just say an administrator at a university. And when I shared this with her, she said, "Oh, Elizabeth, no, 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 student workers, they don't have access to the free tuition and fees." I said back to her, "I'm not talking about student workers. I'm talking about degrees that don't, jobs that don't yet require a degree. So, perhaps it's in lawn care, perhaps it's a janitor, perhaps it's, in food service, whatever it is, maybe even some admins, maybe you don't require a degree." And her immediate response when I said they could get a full-time job, is 24% of their week, they get free tuition and fees, her immediate response like that was, "But that would throw off our graduation rates."
Oh,
I don't think we're here
I
for
can't even
improving
believe
somebody's
she said
graduation
that.
rates. I'm here to earn, let's help everybody earn a debt-free degree. So, one of my favorite people on the planet is Tyler Perry. He's from here in Atlanta. I'm going to meet him one day. I just want y'all to know that. It has not yet happened, but I will. There are people that call me Medea, and I can hello because I really love Medea. And so, when I think about 168 hours a week, I think about Tyler because he plays Tyler and then he plays Medea. He's playing two people every single day. And what do you think your time, your stress level, your health level will be when you walk across that stage and you don't have debt versus you're encumbered by 100 grand in student loan debt? Think about that. What is your time? What is your stress level? What is your health going to look like when you're on a treadmill trying to do two jobs or three jobs? Going back to that one that, full time 40 hours is 24% of your week. Well, how much is two jobs? Because you've got to pay this money back. The other thing with this current administration is instead of having one of the proposals, instead of having income driven repayment plans, it's going to be, oh, no, no, you owe the money. And so one young lady was saying, her payment was $200 a month, and it's now jumping to $700 a month. I don't
Mhm.
know lots of people out there that somebody can add $500 a month to one of their bills and then go, "Okay, la di da, no big deal." It's really, really hard out there, y'all. It's really, really hard. So, as I've mentioned, student loan costs are ridiculous. And 37%, 37% of everyone who owes student loan debt owes six figures. And as a nation, we have a crisis of 1.76 trillion in student loan debt right now. My mission is so that you never say yes to a student loan. So let's talk about my triangle approach. So let's talk about SM, the student money. Here are just a few ways that you can save money as a student. Number one is textbooks. You can go to the professor and say, "Hey, are we going to actually use the textbook that you've assigned?" Because sometimes they assign it, but they don't actually use it. You can share textbooks. You can rent textbooks. You can even go to the professor and say, "You have assigned us the 13th edition. I found the 10th edition for $5. Can I come during office hours and compare the additions to see what the difference is? So that's one way you can save money. The second way you can save money is perhaps thinking about not having a car on campus. Now, many of you are living at home to save money and you want a car in order to commute back and forth. Completely understand that. And at some institutions, one of them that I saw recently, the parking fee was $800 a semester.
Mm.
If you're there, that average graduation of 5 years, that's 10 semesters, you have paid that institution $8,000 for the privilege of parking the car that you own and maintain on their asphalt. It's possibly a way you can save money. Another phenomenal way is with your student ID. There are lots and lots of play. Obviously, on campus, you can show it and get a lot of discounts. But off campus, we talk about town and gown. So off campus, I have a student that's getting his master's. He showed it at one of those chain haircut places. He got a $5 haircut. So show that student ID, make sure that you're doing that. And I talked about jobs and the full-time jobs. I'm not saying that everybody needs to work full-time. You know what's best for you. However, I am saying that working should do something for you other than you exchanging your time and talent for dollars. Okay. So if you're looking at a job, are they giving you discounts on food? Are they is it an on-campus job and so, commute is not an issue? Is it one of those jobs that's on campus so that when it's exam time, they'll work with your schedule, that kind of thing? Are you earning scholarships through your jobs? Or do you have opportunity for networking? Do you have an opportunity for internships? All of those things are so incredibly important. So think about that. If you have a job, make sure that in addition to exchanging your time and talent for somebody's money, that they're giving you something else also. Okay. So if you've got two jobs and both of them are paying minimum wage, but one also offers a scholarship opportunity, well, which one should you take? Right? So be thinking about that. The other thing is networking. Now, I love to get my nails done, and I always have my nails done in a rainbow color. And the reason that I do is because 3 years ago, I did it just on a whim, just to be funny. And it just so happened that one of my friend's children came out to me and disclosed that they're gay. And I thought, if all it takes for somebody to feel safe in my presence is a manicure, then this is what I'm going to do. And so I've been doing rainbow ever since. I love to get my nails done. So the other day, I say the other day, it was probably about a year ago now, I was getting my nails done and this person comes to sit beside me. And so, y'all, I'm so old. I don't know how old somebody else is because, everybody looks so young to me. And it did turn out that this young lady was a senior in high school. And so my person that does my nails normally was out, and so I was with somebody new, and the nail tech says to me, "Oh, are you going back to work after this?" And I said, "I work for myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own company." And the young lady sitting beside me getting her nails done said, "Oh, tell me about your company." Y'all, we sat there for an hour, and I coached her on a debt-free degree. She was heading to a very elite institution where they had her very niche major that she wanted, and she was going to end up owing at that point $40,000. It was $10,000 a year that she was going to owe to go there. Is that right? Maybe it was $10,000 a semester. I don't remember. But then she said there's the state school, and not only is everything taken care of, like I got a full ride, but also they're going to give me a stipend for X amount per semester. So she was already positive there. And so she said, but they don't have my major. And I said, have you thought about a double major? Because let's talk about this niche thing that you want to do. Well, this school that's going to offer you a full ride, they have two majors and you put them together and that kind of gets you a foot in the door. And also, what would it be like to work in that niche field, having a little bit broader major, but understanding you're going to walk into that career not owing anything? And that's what she decided to do. That's the power of networking, y'all. You never know who knows somebody who knows somebody. You never know who you're going to sit beside at a nail salon or on a bus or whatever it is and ask some questions. Get curious. Get curious. It's really, really important. FM, your friends, your family, your folks, the people you're familiar with, here's the way that they can help. Now, Holly, I'm not going to ask you to answer for Eric and Liam. I will say that I talked to a mom not too long ago, and she has twins and they're heading to college, and she was talking about how they have 37 hoodies.
37
37
what?
hoodies, like those
Oh,
sweatshirts,
hoodies.
hoodies with
Okay.
the
I thought you
sweatshirt.
said
I know it's
hoodies.
my southern accent, but 37 hoodies. Okay, in my mind, 37 hoodies times, you know what, like 50 bucks, number one. Number two, exactly how many days in a week are there? Seven. And okay, you divide 37 by two, and somebody, maybe, one gets one more than the other. That's still way more than one per day for what, half of the month. And also, they're twins, so they probably could share. Hello. So when you're thinking about, I want to buy my child another pair of shoes, or I want to buy my grandchild another pair of shoes, or whatever it is, think about there's 7 days in a week, and we need seven outfits. Maybe we only need three outfits, whatever it is. And so I recently spoke with a grandmother, and she has two grandchildren and one on the way. And she said, I have made a commitment that I will buy them zero things. Zero. Every single time she wants to buy them something, she puts money in their college account because they've got other grandparents and other people, and they're provided for. But y'all, if it costs today an average of $100,000, then what's it going to cost when her grandkids are grown, right? And so another great way that parents can help with this, families can help with this, is if you do a GoFundMe. A lot of people are doing this now. You can do a GoFundMe for a lot of different things, and why not do a GoFundMe or a Venmo, or, hey, don't give me a graduation present. Don't give me a birthday present. Don't give me a holiday present, even though it's Holly Holiday. And so I'm not saying that for your last name. It just so happens that there we go. Give me money towards because y'all, you have so many expenses that are hidden and you just don't know what they're going to be. And the last thing is a registry. So a friend of mine is Hispanic, and he was explaining to me this beautiful concept of, he called it a padrino. If I have mispronounced the word, I apologize. It's basically like a godfather in the Hispanic community. And he said, we don't like to give money. We like to give things, but we like to give useful things. And so, particularly in that community, they want a registry. And so, yes, you can put a set of extra long sheets, twin sheets on there. You can put a trash can on there. Those are not like fun gifts to give, but let me tell you something. It saves you money if you don't have to go buy it. So be thinking about all the ways that you can utilize FM. And then, y'all, OPM is king, because guess what? Every single dollar is OPM, somebody else's money, other people's money. And the way that you think about that is either I'm going to give my time and talent for you to give me money, or I'm going to sit here and receive the money that you've donated to me, or that you've given to me, or I've inherited, or I won the lottery. But all of that is somebody else's money. I'm not aware that there's $46 billion in grants and scholarships out there for buying a home or buying a car. That's how much money is out there, y'all. $46 billion in grants and scholarships. It's why one of my chapters is entitled 46 billion. Now, with this current administration, maybe it's no longer 46 billion. Maybe it's 23 billion, and maybe it's 100 billion. I do not know. But I do know that when one source of scholarships goes down, we're going to need a workforce. We live in a capitalist society. We need a workforce. And there are already organizations that are stepping up. Delta is here in Atlanta. Delta just announced a $16 million investment in the county school system in the county surrounding the airport. OPM is king, and y'all tap into that. So, as Holly mentioned, I have a book, and I'm curious, are you committed to a debt-free degree? Do you want to graduate in the black with that lovely full piggy bank? Or do you want to graduate with that little broken piggy bank? And if your answer is yes, begin writing your story. What is your triangle approach? What is your responsibility as the student going to be? If you're a family member, if you're somebody that, you have a loved one that is heading to college, what's your responsibility going to be? And how are y'all going to utilize OPM? Because what you need to do is be thinking about Who will I be? What will I do? What will I have as a result of a debt-free degree versus who will I be? What will I do? What will I not have if I graduate with $100,000 in student loan debt? So we've got money, we've got career, hobbies, all of those things. Relationships. When I tell this story, it's interesting because this elicits a response. I met a lady, it was just at a dinner party, so it had nothing to do with debt-free degree. And she asked me, she said, "What do you do?" And I said, "Oh, debt-free degree." And she literally, when she heard that, she hung her head. Now, I don't know if you know much about emotions, but shame, when we feel shame, neck muscles in our neck, they release. And that's why we kind of hunch over and we kind of put our head down. She had shame. She had tears in her eyes. She said, "I'm a social worker, so I have my bachelor's and my master's in social work." I was dating this phenomenal guy, absolutely wonderful and fabulous. And we really get serious and we start talking marriage. And when I disclosed to him during this, let's get ready to think about getting engaged, I disclosed to him that I have over $100,000 in student loan debt. He broke up with me
Oh,
because he said, I don't want to be with someone where I've got to pay back $100,000 because y'all, her debt, much of it was unsubsidized. So when you take unsubsidized loans, it's essentially like a credit card. So if you take a subsidized loan, then you know that fixed amount. But an unsubsidized, that interest accrues every single month. $100,000 is really, really, really almost impossible to pay off unless, you know, somebody writes a check or you win the lottery or whatever. And he didn't sign up for that. What 99% of the people, when they hear that story, they think the guy is the jerk. And I'm here to say we all have choices. And you didn't sign up. If you don't have student loan debt, you didn't sign up for six-figure student loan debt. I have another friend that her parents paid for her undergrad. She also got a ton of scholarships and she really used the triangle approach. She earned a debt-free degree, but her parents did pay for a good amount. And her fiance, and then she got her master's through a grant program. So she had both a debt-free degree, bachelor's and master's. Her husband actually did earn a debt-free degree, bachelor's, but did not for his master's. And so he owed $80,000 when they got married. They developed a side hustle that they did every single weekend for 2 years. They did it 50 out of 52 weeks, 4 weeks out of 2 years that they did not do this side hustle to pay off this $80,000. And she said, "Dr. Roz, we're building a house. What would it have meant if I could have had $80,000 more to put towards our down payment?" Now, it goes back to that tenacity and resilience because they paid off that much money in 2 years. What is that skill set going to do for them for the rest of their lives? Phenomenal, right? However, he could have done all that on the front end and never had that debilitating debt and still develop that skill set. Do you see how that works? So, Holly, if you have questions, let me know. For those of you that want more information, you can go to drroz.love and all my pages end in .love. If you are so inclined, I should have had this on a slide, but it's you can also do drroz.love/DFD. And that gives you a free chapter of the book with all the accompanying worksheets. And it gives you just an asynchronous webinar. This, I gave a little more information in this one. But if you're interested, then, I'd love for you to go over there. And thank y'all so much.
and don't you also coach? You work with, don't you coach students as
I
well?
do. I do. I do. I do. I don't, this is my give back. And so I don't really talk about ways you need to pay me, but yes, I do.
Right.
Thank you for bringing that up. And
No,
also, I do
because
have the book. So if people want to
so
buy the
many
books.
people, I mean, it's daunting, as you said.
Yeah.
And, getting your help and just getting that, so you're not doing it by yourself is so important. I mean, we had someone help Eric write his, figure out how to write his
Essays.
application
Yes.
letters, essays, and it
Yes.
helped him so much because he couldn't come to us. He wouldn't listen to us.
Yes.
So, so yeah, I mean, I think that, your coaching arm of your business is so
Yes.
important, and they get to
Yes.
talk to you, and you're so positive and loving, and
Yeah.
I can't say enough about you.
Thank
So
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, love bugs. Delighted to be with each one of you. I'm going to stop recording right now. If y'all have got questions, then certainly reach out to me. Holly's got my number. It's on my website. Y'all reach out. Would love, love, love to speak with each one of you. Thank y'all.